A psychologist is a person who goes to school for a really long time to be able to charge you a lot of money, to give you essentially the same advice that your mom or your grandma gave you when you were little, and if you would have listened then, you wouldn't have to see me now. And here's one that applies to business. Think about this for a second. Don't beat up your little brother because someday he may be bigger than you. There you go. You think about that? Here's one piece of research. 79% of employees who quit their jobs cite that a lack of appreciation by the management, by their manager, and even colleagues is one of the primary reasons for their leaving. And money is not the other one. 65% of North American workers say that they have received no recognition or appreciation in the last 12 months. Now, that's amazing to me that they're saying, in the last year, I have not heard anything positive about my work. Now, I have to tell you, when I talk to business owners and managers, they say, well, it's not my people because I tell my people I appreciate them and they're good workers and all that. Well, if I talk to enough business owners, I mean, are you all in the other 35%, of employees and managers? I think the key word there is that they've received it. They haven't received it. That I think managers and supervisors and colleagues are sending messages, but they're not getting there. And so there's a disconnect. The challenge is that employee recognition programs and other things that we've tried haven't worked. And I understand that. It's not that you all and your teams and management haven't tried, but we got to call it like it is, or like Jim Collins says, of facing the brutal facts of reality. Something's not working, and it's going the wrong way. So here's the baseline. It's that individuals are encouraged and motivated differently. Now, this is rocket science. This is if you want me to break it down for you here, as far as being complex, the point is it's not. It's simple. And that's one of the benefits of the model that we have, is that pretty much anybody understands it. It's pretty intuitive. That I worked with Princeton University some, and one of the gals in the high-level management said, it finally hit me that not everybody responds to verbal praise like I do, and that other people are motivated different ways. Let me just say this. Has anybody else made a mistake in the last 6 months? At work? Do I need to go 9 months for you, some of you guys? I mean, a year? I don't know. So, we make mistakes. We screw up. We make a bad call. Whatever. Does that mean we cease to have value as a team member? I was doing some training with a group, and one gal says, so do we only, before we had talked about this, she said, do we only give recognition when people do it right? And I said, no, because our team members have value even though they've maybe made a mistake. And that actually can be a very encouraging time. Also, this is just my personal belief, people have intrinsic value. And that even if they're not in the right spot, they still are valuable as a person. And I can show appreciation for who they are as a person, even though they're maybe not in the right position at work. So there's a big difference between just behavior, because in a true recognition program, you will not call attention to when they've messed up or not met the mark, except for in a sort of punitive or critical kind of way. The objective of appreciation is to improve their performance, but it's also to support and encourage the person. One of the fun things as I work with teams across the country is that appreciation can be communicated from anyone to anyone else. It's not directional. So I have one of the most common responses is that people like to know how to encourage their colleagues. They want to know that when Debbie's having a bad day, what can I do to encourage her? It's not just manager straight down. And in fact, one of the most impactful things of the training that we do, it's not about manager to the team members, but it's how the team members can learn to encourage and support one another. I work with HR managers and training directors, and I'm talking to them, and I'm hearing this kind of thing, that people are not really responding to recognition, and recognition programs aren't working. And the research is starting to show that. And I'm working with these people that this is their job. And I said, I hate to sort of say this because I don't like to create conflict or make people feel like they're not doing what they should. I said, it looks like employee recognition programs aren't working. And they said, yeah, we know. And I said, oh, really? Yeah. And they said, yeah, I mean, everybody that's in this field knows that it's not working. We don't know what to do, so we keep doing it, but, it's not working. Let me talk to you about the importance of appreciation. When people don't feel valued, bad things happen. They get discouraged. They don't work as hard. These are sort of common sense ones. They start to feel used, that I'm just a piece of machinery, that they're just trying to get as much out of me as they can. They start to grumble and complain. One of the key things you got to understand is when people don't feel valued or appreciated, they don't keep it to themselves. But the fact is that we absolutely know how to successfully communicate appreciation, and we've done so in a variety of settings. Military, manufacturing, financial advisory, and so forth. Here are the core conditions for people to feel valued. They feel valued and appreciated if the appreciation is communicated regularly. Once a year at their performance review isn't going to cut it. Secondly, being expressed in the language that's most important to them. Some people don't value words. I had one guy say to me, Paul, I don't need to be told that I'm appreciated. I started to encourage myself. And I said, you're right. Later I told him he was right, because we found out that his language of appreciation was time. He didn't care what you said, and he actually told me later, he said, I grew up in a setting where if somebody complimented you, the next thing that was coming was an ask. That they were setting you up to get something out of you. And he said, so when somebody gives me a compliment, I have sort of this defense that goes up. And that doesn't matter. What I found out was time. He happened to be a coach, and if you went and hung out at practice with him, he got all jazzed, and he was excited to see you, and he'd tell you about what's going on, and he felt like you cared about what he was doing in his life. We have to do it individualized and personally. Group-based kind of stuff is an okay starting point, but if you want your people to feel value, you've got to know them and communicate it in a way that's meaningful to them for what they have brought to this situation, whether that's staying late or being dependable or covering for somebody else, whatever it might be, and that it absolutely has to be viewed as authentic. If they don't view it as being genuine, you're just dead meat. You're just wasting your time and actually undercutting yourself. Acts of service is small things that you can do to help their life and job be easier or better. It's not rescuing them because they're not reporting, but it's little things. And I'll just tell you, the number one request in office settings is help my computer work right. Okay? Now, when I spoke at Microsoft, they're like, how could that be? We're here for them. Actually, we found cross-culturally, we're using this cross-culturally, and we found that a pat on the back is the most commonly accepted act of appreciation. I was working with a group of gals who were leaders in an organization, and they said, yeah, 2 pats, no circular motion. So, when people feel like what they do matters and other people notice, they like to come to work more. They also come on time. One of the key things that we know is we can reduce tardiness and we can reduce absenteeism. Absenteeism can be up to 30% of payroll costs for organizations today. 5% of the workforce don't show up in the United States every day unannounced. We can decrease staff turnover. You guys know how difficult it is to find and train new people. We can keep people in the doors and part of the team successfully. We can diminish tension and conflict and improve customer satisfaction.